Gendrian, founder of AtoZ Communications, and this is the Brand Stories podcast. This is where we talk about everything related to branding, marketing, and public relations. This week, we have PodPony's CEO, Brodrick Lothinger. He shares with us what the future of podcasting looks like, and actually why lots of people shouldn't be doing podcasting. Brodrick, super excited to have you on the podcast. First of all, as a podcaster yourself, so when you listen to it, I hope that it meets your standards. And if not, please give me constructive feedback, because I would be happy to achieve the standard of PodPony. But thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Can you imagine how terrible of a guest I would be if say, all right, 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself, host? No, I am so honored to be here. Allie, thank you for having me. We've talked about this for some time. I think since I saw you in Miami at Future Proof. So Thanks for reaching out and asking me on the show. Honored to be here.
Yeah, well, I was honored. Speaking of Miami, since you brought it up, so we had that night. It felt like the Last Supper, and I'm not trying to be religious, but just in the sense that the table kept like growing and growing and growing, and it was a lovely experience. And the fact that I could sit across from you, I should be so lucky.
Yeah. All right. So if it was the Last Supper, who at the table was Judas?
So I brought this up with some of the ladies on the other end of the table, and I was like, so who's Jesus? And they were like, it's Matt Halloran. And I was like, yeah, actually, I could see Matt Halloran being Jesus. He's just warm and bubbly, and sure. Who's the Judas? Ooh.
Yeah, who's the Judas? Who's the Judas of the group?
Now I feel like I don't know. Like, email all the participants and be like, so who do you think is the betrayer?
We didn't have a Judas at our table. Everyone was awesome. No, you literally only hang out with the coolest of people, and then me. So thanks for throwing me in there.
No, well, you are definitely one of the coolest people. But to kick this podcast off, as I always do, my first question is, what's your favorite brand and why?
Okay, so it is a little niche, I think. It's very, very specific. Okay. So my family's from San Antonio, Texas. And when starting PodPony, the colors of our business were heavily influenced by the 1990s San Antonio Spurs. And recently, they brought their Fiesta colors back for their what's called City Edition. And I, like many other people who've lived in San Antonio, thought that this brand exudes the city better than just about anything else. And there is a fun, festive, just a good brand. It's not just a logo. There's a story, and it gives a feeling. When I see that 90s brand, there's an element of nostalgia. It's very bright. And so you just have a feeling of Fiesta when you see it. It's a good time. I know when I get to go home, get off of work, go watch a Spurs game, and put on a Fiesta shirt, it really is just a really awesome brand that reminds me of going to games with my grandpa and meeting Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and just a lot of fun music and things that you want to share in with the next generation of people. So I would, in the words of Larry Sprung, it's something that brings me joy, is the Fiesta San Antonio Spurs. So that's what I'm going to go with today.
You know what? First of all, I love so much of that, including the fact that you brought Larry in. So hi, Larry. Shout out to you. But so as part of that, it kind of reminds me of what you're doing at PodPony, being that, well, the Fiesta. I'm kind of curious to see the shirt at some point, but maybe the next time that we go to Miami. But the fun and the storytelling, I feel like, is what you guys are known for, and being bright and cheery and whatnot. So how did you go about developing that kind of brand and that kind of company?
Well, as you know, in our industry, when you log on to LinkedIn, there are a lot of very, very intelligent people within financial services who put out a number of great content pieces. But when it came to PodPony, my initial takeaway of, it was 2020, 2021, when I went on LinkedIn, I didn't see anything that made me smile. There are a lot of people who are already doing a great job of sounding smart, but there wasn't anyone bringing me joy with content and no one making me laugh. You had to go to other platforms. And I thought to myself, if we put out content where you could learn something and it also put a smile on somebody's face, well, that's a win. And fun fact, there's usually a positive correlation between entertaining people, educating people, and revenue. So that's its own thing. And if you could do that really well, you're going to have people want to jump into that same mission with you because they say, well, your content seems fun. This must be a fun agency. It would be a fun time working with them. And so that was the rationale, is working with PodPony should feel like a fiesta. It's going to be hard at times. I mean, podcasting and content creation, it really is like taking on another job.
Yes.
But our job in that and stewarding your voice is to make sure we're all having fun in it. And so I didn't see a lot of that. And I was inspired actually by a web development company called Hounder. I went to a DrupalCon years ago, and whenever they showed up, they were all in a uniform, like whether it was baseball jerseys, Hawaiian shirts, and they wanted to be the most fun agency at every event they were at. I thought that could be really cool. And I didn't see anyone aspiring to do that in financial services. And so we thought, why not us?
Well, and I love the fact that you took on that challenge, because you're right. I mean, so much of financial services is just this dry, let's go through the statement. And from the client side, like, really, I would prefer to like go to the dentist at this point, or you're about equal, which obviously nobody really wants to compare to. But the fact that, like you said, I could understand that there would be a correlation between, if I feel some level of happy with you, I'm going to want to spend money with you. So that's freaking brilliant on your part.
Well, thank you. And in 2019, I was coached by someone that if you want marketing to work, it has to be effective hate marketing. And we've seen that with political campaigns that have been doing it forever, get one side to hate the other. And it's true. If I put out a YouTube thumbnail and I evoke a negative emotion, I am a lot more likely to get you to click on my video than if I invoke a positive emotion. And we do that at times too. We put out a YouTube video. The title said the top 10 reasons you shouldn't start a podcast. Okay. That's going to get a lot more clicks than the 3 ways to be successful. Yeah. Now, when you click on the video, it's not all together, here's all the reasons why you're going to fail. It's, well, here's reasons people fail. If you want to be successful, you probably should be doing these things. Most people don't want to do it. You probably fall in the majority. If you're in the minority, here you go. So there's a way to be tactful with saying, I don't want to use the word hate marketing with us, but have fun. Like, you don't have to pretend negativity doesn't altogether exist. And we're very conscious of not really trying to pit one side against another in what we do. And there's a lot of strategy and thought that goes into that type of content marketing initiative. No. But if you do it well, people are smiling, people are probably clicking, and as I was saying earlier, you're probably going to get more and more people that want to work with you as a result.
Love it. So we were talking before we hit record, and I feel like the trend that I'm seeing among financial advisors is that, I don't know if it's being short-sighted or it's not necessarily understanding the process, but it's just feeling like, oh, podcasting, I can do social, I can do email, I can do all these different things. And obviously you can. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't just discount podcasting as, oh, it's just one element of the program. It's a pretty sizable, powerful one. It's not really the same as all the others, I would think.
I'll go back to my earlier point. I don't think most people should start a podcast. So I think I might be in line with them. PodPony went out of business after this episode. My thought is, so the data shows, I think 10 years ago, it was 68 to 69% of people didn't make it past recording 10 episodes. I think I saw a study that, I think it was in 2025, that said 92% of people didn't make it past 10 episodes. The barrier to entry to start a podcast is, there's next to none. So a lot of people want to start a podcast, but 8% make it past recording 10 episodes. What gives? Less than 1% make it past a year. I know at PodPony, that churn is expensive for us. So we only want to partner with the people who are going to be going for the long haul. And I tell advisors, when they start their 5 episodes in and they're thinking, we're going to get millions of listeners, say, well, it's not really a bottom funnel marketing campaign. It's top of funnel. It's not really a very volatile asset class. It's more like investing in the S&P 500, doing that index fund and watching it grow slowly over time. Then advisors will tell me, well, I wish I had started 5-10 years ago. So was that what you'd say to someone who hasn't started retirement planning until the age 50? Now I say the best time was yesterday. Second best time is today. But that's for the people who should be doing it. Many, many advisors want to grow, or at least they say they do, but their actions show that they want to golf. And there's nothing wrong with that. You've built a successful lifestyle practice. I'm just hating because I'm jealous. You get to go golfing and surfing and doing all these activities during the day that bring you a tremendous amount of joy, and you have advisors working for you, and you've got a great practice. But then growing, that is adding another job. I tell folks I worked at Carson Group here in Omaha for Omani Carson. Back then his name was Ron Carson. He was every day, it seemed, recording selfie videos of himself, giving us so much fuel to market him. And it didn't seem like a job for him. It's just what he did. And a lot of advisors, a lot of people, they say, oh, I could sit down 26 to 52 times a year and talk to somebody. True. But then baseball practice comes. Then you have a family trip. Things happen, and it usually is the first thing to get kicked and punted. Once that happens and you miss a week, podcast listeners, they add you to part of their life. Maybe they're mowing the lawn, doing dishes, going to the gym. And every Wednesday, they listen to your show. But then 1 week you're not there. Are they just going to sit around and wait? No, they're going to go find another show like yours, listen to that, and guess what? You're out of the rotation. Most people have a max of 3 shows they listen to. It's very hard for us to partner with firms who aren't taking it seriously and understand it's a job. We can bring you the fans, we can bring you the court, the trainers, everything, but you got to show up and be Michael Jordan. We can even give you the topics to talk about, but you got to show up. And so the fact of the matter is, it's not easy. And we're not taking Allen Iverson's, right? They got to show up. It's got to be practice. Practice matters. And the average firm I've seen doesn't need to practice. They've gotten to where they are and they don't necessarily need it. So yes, it's a great lane, but I just don't think it's for everyone unless you truly want to grow and you're committed to probably a 3 to 5 year endeavor where you're going to be bringing it at least twice a month.
Yeah. Okay. That was a lot of great insights in there, which I very much appreciate. Among them being, so do you feel like the advisors, in addition to needing to show up, is the difference between I make it to 5 episodes or I make it to 3 years, is it going in and meeting with somebody like you and having that plan of, well, I think at least for the first 3 months, I have all my guests plotted out? Or like, what is it that's the difference between 5 episodes and longevity?
For us, I do think we can produce fantastic assets. There are other agencies, I think, that can do that as well. We really want to commend our team on how they produced assets. Yes, we can give them a strategy. Yes, we can give you a lot of things that you need to have a successful podcast. But I think the biggest thing is accountability. When it comes to, do you need a financial advisor? No. Could you do a lot of this stuff yourself? Yeah. But is it worth your time? Is that what you want to be doing? I have a financial advisor.
Yep, me too.
There are so many value adds that they provide me of things that I don't want to be managing. It's not a good use of my time. Could you do a podcast yourself? Absolutely. Is it worth your time? Maybe. Right? There are some advisors that are just getting started and they'll come to me and say, I can't afford you yet. What can I do to get started myself? And we give them what they need. And eventually, a lot of times they do come back and say, okay, now I'm ready to work with you. And so I think the biggest thing we offer when people work with us, that is a huge value add, is we offer the direction with that strategy, say, this is where we're going, and then accountability. You know, if you have a virtual producer, it's the same reason why a lot of people have trainers at the gym. I know I could work out myself, but I've got Jason at the gym and I can't stand him up. So, okay, I'm going to go. If you have a virtual producer, you're a lot more likely to make your session because you don't want to stand them up. And so, yes, I think it's not really I'm not producing it well enough that's holding people back. It's the lack of accountability.
Okay, very fair. So what do you think then is the future of podcasting? I mean, are we going to see like all of those podcasts that have either started now or started whatever number of years ago? Are they just going to like keep going on because it's the same, like we were talking about, like 90s sitcom shows that like, well, we all love them, so they're going to keep going till whoever it is decides that it's the end? Or are we going to see a lot more? Is the medium itself going to evolve? What do you think?
The medium, it's evolving so much even as we speak right now. Netflix has podcasts. Apple and Spotify just added video. Podcasts by nature were audio only until now. We're changing the definition of what is a podcast right now. And I don't altogether love that. YouTube has its lane. Podcasts have had theirs. People interact with each platform differently. The future of podcasts, I still believe what makes them great and why I believe if every firm truly does want to grow and they're willing to commit, they should have a podcast. Just like any family in the United States who lives within 30 miles of a Costco should have a membership. When I believe in something like that, I sell the heck out of it. And it's not because I think you could have millions of followers, but because the average consumer now, it's like a Google review. People, when they are making buying decisions, they want to check you out a little bit more thoroughly these days and see, you can have a lot of great blogs, but did AI write that? How do you sound? Do I align with you?
Yeah.
And when you're doing a podcast, really important, share an opinion. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to want to work with you because of that. But the people who do want to work with you are going to be a lot more aligned. And so if you are moving into the future of podcasting, you want to work hard, you have an opinion, you have something interesting to say, and you see, oh, there's audio, there's video. Are you ever able to get yourself on Netflix? The barrier to entry for those people, it's still as low as it's ever been, but it's going to become increasingly more difficult to actually get people to listen because you're not on Spotify. So should you give up? No. There's still going to be people who can move through the noise and become successful with their podcasts. But it takes a lot more effort in order to stand out now and also to grow that community. A great example being, there was an advisor who wanted to start a podcast that I've worked with, and he didn't have the largest marketing budget. And so we had to find any way to actually grow his audience as inexpensively as possible. So one of the first ideas we had that we want to get people excited to refer this podcast. So every quarter he would put together cooking classes for all of his clients. He loved to cook. And so he had all of his clients, friends and family all come together and he led a session on cooking while he's wearing his podcast t-shirt. After the people are coming in, they're listening, they all thought it was great. He says, hey, if you want to follow more dishes, check out my podcast where I give personal finance tips and I'm also cooking while I'm doing it. My goodness, all these people that maybe would have had a difficult time finding him on YouTube or podcast platforms immediately subscribed. And YouTube just saw, wow, 30 to 60 people just hit subscribe right here, right now. We need to recommend this content to similar audiences, to all these subscribers. So it's not as simple as hit upload and the masses are going to come to you like they did in 2010. But with a good, thoughtful strategy, you can still grow it. And you might not be competing with Netflix, but you are going to stand out in comparison to a lot of other investment advisors in your area.
Yep. So that's almost making me think if I need to retool my own podcast and add, I don't cook very well, so I definitely couldn't do that. I could burn things in front of people, but that wouldn't be helpful.
The arson podcast. All right, I dig it.
Yeah, it goes with the fiery red hair. I don't know. But anyway, so I think I know the answer to this upcoming question, but since you mentioned AI, do you think that the future is going to be AI podcasts? I'm going to guess that the answer is no, because we need to have that genuine human to human connection, but I would be curious if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think there will be. I do think there are going to be AI podcasts. There already are. And I wouldn't be surprised if the most prominent AI podcasts would be podcasts that are information driven, where people are looking for relevant, timely information. I don't know if they need that personal connection with a host. And as more and more younger audiences are becoming okay with AI generated content, I think you're going to see more of those podcasts come into play. Now, I am terrified of a future where we're listening to two AI bots have a conversation with each other and we're consuming that. I don't think that day is coming anytime soon when we're really looking to build that relationship with the hosts. And most audiences feel, I think I saw, it was a Harvard business study that said 68% of respondents felt like they had a personal relationship with hosts. Obviously, we're not going to have that with AI news piece podcasts, but all the others I'm not too concerned about.
Got it. So I would also be curious from you. So at least in my own experience with my podcast, I feel like I'm more successful when I take the short and I put it on social media than I am the longer podcasts. How do you feel like people should be best utilizing this content? I mean, if you're sitting down, we're going to sit down for about a half hour, we're going to record. What is the best way to use it and use all of it potentially?
Go in with a game plan. Number one, if you know what you want, if you know what you're trying to get out of the podcast before you even go into it, it's a lot easier to then splice things up into clips and various social media posts. And then if you're listening to it, to make your workflow easy, I'm pretending we're talking, the listener for this episode maybe doesn't have a marketing team and they're doing it all themselves. If that person were to say, how do I even do all that? Well, when I was in your shoes, what I would be doing is I'd have my 5 or 6 points I knew I needed to tee up. And as it was recording, I would look at the timestamp and then write down the timestamp next to that question or transition piece, making it easy for me to later go trim it, not have to listen to the whole episode, pull that out and turn it into clips. But if you're going into the podcast thing, oh, we're just going to have a conversation, maybe you'll have something that fits your business goals, or you might end up just talking about the New York Knicks for 30 minutes. And if that's the goal, is just to have great conversations, that's fine. But if you're saying, I need to have 3 to 5 pieces, then make sure you're going in with 3 to 5 thoughtful questions as well.
Love that. So thank you for all of your time. For anybody, like you were saying, who doesn't have the marketing team, thinks to themselves, look, I feel like I fit Brodrick's criteria of maybe I ought to be doing a podcast. How do you know that you're that person, and how can you arguably start to do it yourself?
Yeah, we don't know if we're that person for everyone. We like to think of ourselves as that athlete-agent relationship where we want to see what type of player are you. Maybe we are the best representation for you for getting you in the game. But we have great, I don't even like calling them competitors because there are others in the industry that the way they approach media, it's just different than us. And it's like a different restaurant. And so we want to make sure, are we the right partner for you? If you have questions, though, and you're interested in podcasting, you're interested in YouTube, email marketing, reach out to us. Love to at least get you started. And we constantly point people in what we believe is the right direction for them, whether it is working with us, doing something themselves, having a partner who can best help them. There's some people who say they want to do podcasting, and then we get done with a 10-minute conversation and say, you need PR. Let me introduce you to, let me put you right here with Allie. You need this service here. And so that's the idea whenever you are trying to get started with content. Maybe it is, maybe it's not podcasting, but come in, ask questions with someone who genuinely wants to put good content out into the world. If you're having that conversation with us, you'll walk away with some form of plan.
And I love that you guys are like that, by the way, because I feel like those groups who, everybody that you sit down, you sell them into a podcast, and then they make it the 5 episodes and they completely hate it. It seems so disingenuous and so just money hungry, instead of saying, you know what, at the end of the day, you're right. Not everybody's made to do podcasts. Not everybody's made to do PR, whatever it is. But I would just as soon help you get to where you want to be than be that impediment to you achieving whatever your goal is. So thank you for being that kind of person.
Well, we get referrals from people we push away to other agencies, other business, because we were honest with them. They say, maybe I'm not in the market for a podcast, but I know that when I go to an event, someone says I should do one, I'm going to refer people to PodPony because I know they're going to be straight up with them. So it goes back to Cowboy Ethics, which if you haven't heard of that book, check it out. Folks from Halbert Hargrove pushed that our way, and it's how we like to do business here. We're a podunk. We like to tell people. We had someone refer to us as Podunk Pony because we're from Omaha, just country bumpkins out here. And we leaned into that. And your handshake, that should be as good as any contract you have out here in Omaha in these parts. So, yeah, us and a few cows producing podcasts.
Well, at the very least, you have achieved your goal. I have laughed as a result of this interview. So thank you for being that kind of content that makes people laugh and smile and have a good time.
Heck yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime.